We are broadcasting to you from our North Catholic studios in Cranberry Township for our 11th episode of Season 3 of our podcast on North Catholic Athletics. My name is Alex Brown.
And I'm Ryan Bear.
And together, we are your hosts for this podcast. And Ryan, it is this time of the year when we start getting into the playoffs of our winter sports. And we're right about there, especially with basketball.
Yes, and the two main ones that are, as you just mentioned, that are finishing up right now with a couple of games left, and they should get their seedings next Monday, are girls basketball and boys basketball. And those are the two sports we'll talk about today. We have an interview, two interviews for you as well. It should be some good interviews with Coach Rottmann and Max Hurray, so we look forward to you guys hearing that. But let's go over some of the past couple games and what should we expect for the girls team start off, Alex. February 2nd, they had a dominating win against Valley, 70-24, and then they played Pinehurst over the weekend and won 48-40 against a higher division school. It's always good to get those in-game experiences against those higher division schools because during playoffs you'll be playing some teams that are of that caliber and maybe even a little bit below. So you want to make sure you get some experience against those top-tier teams before you head into playoffs because sometimes it gets a little boring and maybe you get a little rusty or lackadaisical sometimes after playing so many games against teams that you start blowing out like Valley.
You're right, Derry.
And Greensburg as well. And Greensburg is a playoff team that North might see in the playoffs. And they won that game pretty handily as well without
Daisha.
Yeah, Elena Rocco got hurt early on in that one, and then Daisha did play that game, but she got hurt a little bit as well. It was her first game back.
Without a Daisha at full strength. And she's getting close. She's getting close. Elena Rocco is going to be back tonight when they play Knock. As we're talking right now on Thursday the 9th, and they play Knock tonight in their last section matchup of the season. But going into tonight's game against Knock, they have 11 wins in a row. They did not lose in the month of January, and they are on a tear right now that is dominant. A dominant tear in which they are tearing other teams apart through their offense by splitting them open down the middle and then cutting them off on defense.
Yep, and they should be their favorite right now to get the first seed in Class 4, and maybe 1 or 2 because Blackhawk is up there as well. But in Class 4A, Section 1, they're 11-0, 17-3 overall. Knock is in second place for North Catholic. That's the one remaining game. It's tonight as you're recording this. It'll already be played after we upload this. But if they can take care of business there, I believe 12-0 in conference for the season should guarantee a top 3. One of the top 3 seeds. The division winner should get the top 3 seeds, but you never know what the WPIAL is going to do with those seedings. But they'll be 12-0 undefeated. Can't be any better in conference, and they'll be getting back to full strength as well, which will be really huge. Some other teams that you might need to look out for in playoffs is Blackhawk. They're 9-0 in conference right now, 18-2 overall. Elizabeth Ford is 11-0 in conference, 16-4 overall. So those are some really good teams that the girls might need to look out for in the future as well. But right now they're handling business against the teams they need to handle business against, and they're getting ready and prepped for another WPIAL championship run as they won last year as well.
And Ron, they have 6 seniors this year on their roster. They only had 2 last year, so they returned a lot of starters from last year's team. But they've had adversity this year with Daisha's injury that kept her out since the Seneca Valley game to the Greensburg-Salem game, about over 30 days. She was out of the lineup for North Catholic. And then in her absence, other players have stepped up in ways that maybe they wouldn't have if she was there. Greater opportunity. Sarah Lowry has been absolutely fantastic this year for the Trojanettes. And Elena Rocco, as we know, scored 1,000 points this season, has had a remarkable career at North Catholic, has had her best season so far this year. She had an injury in that Greensburg-Salem game. She has not been back since, but will play tonight against Knock. And we're looking to have her back at full strength for that clash against Oakland this Saturday. But there's been a lot of players that really stepped up. Ava Walker has really stepped up big time this year, especially coming off the ACL injury from last year. She has come in and gained strength throughout the season and has gotten better and better with each passing game. And she's going into the playoffs playing some of her best basketball. And this is a special season in more ways than one for North Catholic, as it is their 50th season of Trojanettes basketball since Don Barth started the program, as he was the first head coach of the Trojanettes back in 1973. And Coach Rottmann has been the coach for over 20 years now. And her dad, Coach Larkin, has been on the North Catholic bench back when she was playing. And he's been around the program for quite a long time. And their family has had such an incredible impact on them over the years, Ryan. And this is a WPIAL program that is right up there with the very best that there's ever been as in girls basketball throughout the WPIAL. And I would venture to say, Ryan, the very best and the most successful that there has been in WPIAL history.
I mean, you just look at some of these stats. The WPIAL record, they've made the playoffs 48 times in the 50 seasons.
That's remarkable. That's incredible.
Yep. 40 section titles, including this season. 13 consecutive section titles. 162 consecutive section wins. And that's the streak.
That's incredible.
Is that the current streak?
I'm not quite sure if
I don't know
that's
if it
the
means
current streak.
regular season, because if it's not
That would
regular
just
season,
be regular season.
and then it's probably the current streak. I mean, they're undefeated right now.
They're undefeated so often in sections.
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
56-game winning streak in 1988 to 89. WPIAL record of 21 titles. 19 consecutive WPIAL final appearances.
Wow.
And PIA record of 8 state championships and 6 times runner-ups. So
That's incredible.
More champions than runner-ups in the
That's
state
absolutely incredible. And obviously some of those streaks are parceled out over the 50-year history here at North Catholic. But what an incredible success story this program has been. And all started by Don Barth in 1973 as their first head coach. And his wife, Mrs. Barth, was at an alumni event that they had just this past Saturday. And what a special time that was, Ryan. They had over 70 players from the previous teams come back to North Catholic, representing 32 of the 50 classes that they've had. And that's especially impressive since you consider 4 of those classes are in college right now and are not able to attend. So such tremendous support from the alumni, and the alumni that really care and that want to be a part of this program going forward and loved it when they were playing in it back here at North Catholic. And that's such a special thing to see the outreach and what it's meant to the players that they've had over the years, and still does to this day.
And one more stat that I'm looking at here is, as of February 1st, the overall record was 1,185 wins, 251 losses, was an 83 winning percentage with a 24-5 average season record.
Does that not scream greatness or what? That's absolutely incredible. And all those alumni were gathered at the Pine Richland game. They played this previous Saturday, in which they won 48-40. That's absolutely incredible, the success that Coach Rottmann has sustained and strengthened throughout this program. And for more on that, here's a little bit of our interview from Coach Rottmann. And we're here with the girls varsity basketball coach, Coach Molly Rottmann. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, your team has battled a lot of adversity this year, especially with Dacia's injury, but you've gone 8-1 in the games that she hasn't played. How has the team been able to push through that adversity and just continue winning throughout the season?
I give them a lot of credit. I mean, I think, between Dacia's injury, we were asking people to step up a little bit more than we had originally planned at that time. Like Ava and Sarah are just coming off ACL injuries, which is a big injury. And coming back, you usually need a little bit more time. And we were going to try to sort of wean them back in slowly, and then that just didn't happen with Dacia's injury. So, I give all the kids credit. I know it's been a rough road for Dacia, but she seems to be, starting to get back on track. But I think it gave us a lot of valuable time. And some other kids to step up with some leadership and scoring and defense.
Although the roster makeup from this year to last year is very similar, do you think the team this year has a different identity than they did last year?
I think we do. I think we are, obviously a year older. We didn't have Ava and Sarah last year, and last year was a real roller coaster emotionally with like Anastasia Peterson's mom, and it was just a different type of year. But I think this group is definitely its own entity. They're playing with a lot of confidence. I think everyone has improved. So I think we have a lot of different weapons offensively, and I'm really happy with the way they've stepped up with their defense this year.
Coach, you were a 1,000-point scorer here at North Catholic, and you've coached many that were 1,000-point scorers. But how impressive is it that Elena's been able to accomplish this only in her junior year, too?
Yeah, it's very impressive. It's hard, especially on successful teams with a variety of weapons, right? It's hard to, because we share the ball pretty well. So, I mean, I think that says a lot that she was able to do that. But she just has so many different ways of scoring, and she certainly is a recipient of having good teammates too.
Yeah.
So you can't just focus on her on the defensive end. But, Elena is highly skilled, and it's fun to watch her play.
This year, it's such a strong group of senior leaders this year. You had two strong leaders last year, and now you have 6 this season. What are some of your favorite memories of this class over their time here at North?
This class is great. I mean, we really do. They are 6 really good leaders, and they all add their own little part of the story to it. They're a lot of fun. They're intense. Caitlin Tavella certainly makes me laugh on a daily basis. Yeah. She keeps everything light. And I think that I'd be really remiss if I didn't talk about Annabelle Polowitz and Riley Curtis, just what they have added. Because sometimes it's hard to be a senior, not necessarily contributing on the floor as much as you would like, but to get your teammates ready and to keep a positive attitude. So, I mean, to me, their leadership has been amazing, and I give them a ton of credit because that's not easy to do. And, Anna and Tori and Daisha just have been, on the varsity since their freshman year. So they just bring that warrior mentality and just knowing how to play and how to tough through things and help us win.
So the Barth & Graham Classic is this Saturday. I know you guys are pumped up for that one, but Oakland has had a great year, and it might be a tall task for you guys. What is your outlook on this matchup, and what do you guys need to do while we win?
I'm more excited. The Don Graham Classic is always, it's gonna be packed. It'll be a great crowd. And there's nothing better than the rivalries between us and Oakland and the boys in Central. So it will be literally a tall task, as they have quite a few 6-footers on their team. But I think it's a great prep for us. They are having a great year, but it'll be good for us in preparation for the playoffs. They're going to press. We're going to see Blackhawk down the road. We're going to see some other teams that are going to put the same type of pressure on. So for me, it's all about getting ready for the playoffs at this time, and we usually try to schedule some hard games at the end of the year for that purpose.
Do you feel like a good start might be important in this one, try to ride the momentum of the crowd early?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think with a team like Oakland you want to fall behind. So we're going to have to ride the wave a little bit because they are going to put a lot of pressure on. But I think if we can start out strong, I think that's going to be great for our mentality, and it's going to help us versus trying to dig out of a hole early.
In a lot of games this year, you're going up against teams that you're better than. You haven't lost a section game. It's been years. I think you said right before we were talking, it's been over 90 games without a loss in section. How do you get the team ready to play in those types of games, even when this game? I mean, we know we're better than them, but
right.
It's tough to get up for. It has to be tough to get up for some of those games. But how do you keep them ready?
Right. That's a good question because we have better teams in our section, but there's always some lower level teams that you have to prepare for, and especially after you've played them one time, it's sometimes hard to keep them focused. But they do a pretty good job of that. We talk about being tripped up, and we also talk about every game. If you're just going to go out and we're going to become selfish and just try to steal and get our own points, we're not making ourselves any better. So regardless of the other team's level of talent, we will try to have a goal of this is what we want to do defensively. This is the habits that we want to form. So we sort of focus on what we should be doing versus, the opportunity we can, score or not play as hard. We're there that night. That's 32 minutes that we should be using to get better.
After this weekend, you have the WPIAL playoffs coming up. What do you feel like you guys need to do to make a deep run again in the playoffs?
Well, we need to stay healthy.
Yeah, that's the big one.
We need to stay healthy. That's been an ongoing theme this year and last year. But I see us getting back on the right track and being deep. I think we have to continue to play together. Not one individual is going to win these playoffs. We really need a full team effort. And I've been really happy with how we have played, both offensively and defensively as a team. So as long as we continue that, I think, we're going to run into some tough teams, but I think we have as good a chance as anybody.
This is the 50th season of Trojanet basketball here at North Catholic. In those 50 years, including this one, the program has won 40 of 50 section championships. Both you and your dad, Coach Larkin, have been around this program for a long time, for many of those seasons, many of those successful seasons. What has the program meant to you and your family, and why and how has it been so successful?
Alex, I think you're saying I'm a dinosaur.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. No, it has been. I mean, that alumni day was great to have all those people come back, and I can't tell you how many of the older players are so excited that we did it, and they sort of made a connection. And I thought it was great for our current team to realize that they're part of a bigger picture out there that was started a long time ago. But it has certainly shaped what we do. I would not be here if it wasn't for Mr. Barth. I probably would not be coaching at North Catholic. I might even be in a whole different, I might not be coaching at all. But that draw back to here really was very strong in what he started and what I wanted to continue what he started. And having my dad by my side has been super special to be able to do that with him. But, my kids are at school here. My husband had never been to a basketball game before we started dating, and now, he's all in at North Catholic. So I think it really has really sort of steered my life in a certain direction, but I wouldn't change it anyway.
Well, we thank you so much for this interview. It was a great interview, and good luck the rest of the season.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
And you just heard from Coach Rottmann. Good interview there, talking about the season and prepping for the playoffs as well.
It's always good to hear from her. It really is.
And now let's move on to the boys' basketball season. They're having a great year so far again, with only 2 section losses, both coming at the hands of Lincoln Park. And Lincoln Park, those pesky Leopards always seem to be nipping at North Catholic's heels. But this year they have the advantage, 20-1 overall, 11-0 in conference is Lincoln Park. North Catholic's right behind them, 9-2 in conference, 14-6 overall. And they think that maybe if they get that third shot at Lincoln Park in the playoffs, as Alex always tells me, it's tough to beat a good team 3 times.
Exactly.
That's his favorite
Exactly.
line. And maybe the third time's the charm if they do face in the playoffs. But before that, North Catholic has 2 games left this Friday against Beaver, and that's a big game. As Beaver is 8-3.
They're right behind them in the section.
Yeah, right behind them. So if they lose this one, then Beaver
might pass them.
I don't know if they pass them because they both would beat each other, but depending tiebreakers, whatever the tiebreakers are, there could be a chance the Beaver passes them.
Exactly.
So you got to win this one. Try to win it in good fashion as well. A double-digit win would be really, really important seeding-wise come Monday. But then after that, Saturday, they play Central Catholic, and they're playing a really good team as well. The girls are playing a good team in Oakland. The boys are playing a good team at Central. And Central is having a good year, second in Section 1 of Class 6A, 6-3 in conference, 12-8 overall. So they're no walkover, and they could have
Not at all.
Oh, I mean, they beat North Catholic last year, and this year they're probably confident that they can do that again. But North is going to come out strong, try to have a revenge game. Both the girls and the boys lost last year, so let's see if there's any revenge or as we asked Max about any more motivation because of losing them last year. But
and I really think they could beat Central. Central this year has been so flighty with their performances. I mean, they beat Lincoln Park this year, 54-49, but they also lost to Seneca Valley, 63-54. They lost by 9 points
lost to North Allegheny
Seneca
as well.
Wow.
Who is
that's right.
they're
North Allegheny.
struggling as well, 8-11 overall, 3-6 in conference.
And they lost to Newcastle as well recently, just on the 3rd. They beat Butler on the 7th, which was on Tuesday. They beat Butler 65-43, pardon me. And then they play North Allegheny on Friday, North Catholic on Saturday. So it's a busy week for Central, but North Catholic has a great opportunity to make a statement this weekend with 2 games, the boys and the girls playing against their rival schools and trying to assert themselves even higher on that dominance and within the area of who's rising.
And it's like a weird way to phrase this, but I was just thinking of this. It's like the game doesn't really mean anything, but it means everything.
Exactly. You're exactly right. I remember this scrimmage last year. It was, I guess you could call it an exhibition game between the hockey team and both hockey teams of North Catholic and Central. It's an exhibition game, but what you carry with that is a lot of pride in yourself and your school, and you want to win that game badly. It's a competitive fire. It's a rivalry game. It is a rivalry game. It's been something that's been entrenched between these 2 schools ever since these programs started playing each other. And it's something that means a heck of a lot to alumni when you see football and basketball alumni. And to have these games is is excellent, especially on this weekend with this event. And Mr. Barden, our athletic director, did a phenomenal job in scheduling these games for this weekend because it is such a great way to show off the competitive fire that is burning within North Catholic since these programs have come under the usherance of Don Barth, Don Graham, their coaches they have now, Coach Rottmann, Coach Rocco, and bringing these programs to where they are today, and we'll see where they're at. And this is a good measuring point for two 5A teams going against North Catholic.
Central Catholic's actually 6A.
6A, but girls 5A.
Yeah. But for the boys, they've
right.
had a good year. Their offense has been their strength this year. Their defense has been good at times, but also struggled at times.
Yep.
And that's partly due to rebounding. They don't have a lot of size.
You're right.
But I think if they can improve their rebounding, they can make a run in playoffs. And that might be key this weekend. Central Catholic does have some height.
They do.
But looking at the last couple of games, Blackhawk, they are pretty tall as well. North Catholic dominated them the first time, and then it was 16 points the last time.
Yep.
So still 2 double-digit wins against Blackhawk, and they're a taller team. And
They are.
team that will make playoffs as well. So North Catholic, they haven't really played that many close games this year, other than the game against Lincoln Park in conference. But something that may benefit them for the Central game in the playoffs is they had a lot of tough non-conference games early on in the year.
Yep.
They played Monsignor Scanlon, Devon Prep, went to Philadelphia for a couple of games as well.
Played a team from Florida.
There. Yeah, played a team from Florida. So they're playing good competition early on in the season. So that might benefit them come playoffs playing against some high-level teams. So you never know, but the team has a lot of scorers. You got Andrew Madelon, who can score a lot of points in the paint, drive really well, and he can also knock down the three. Max Hurray, every time he shoots it, you think it's going in.
You're right.
Max Rottmann as well, but there's one player I think is really key to them, and that's Matt Ellery. It seems to me that when he starts to knock down some threes, it really opens up the offense because sometimes the defense keys on Max and Andrew a lot. And sometimes they can shut them down a little bit. No, they never could shut down those two guys fully, but sometimes they can take away them a little. And if Matt Ellery hits a three, that just opens everything up. The defense gets a little scattered, and that's like there's so much talent. Any guy for North Catholic can lead the team in scoring any night.
You're absolutely right.
And as teams start to key on Max Hurray, Andrew Madelon, you can rely on other guys
to step up.
Yeah, to step up as well, and that could be really important for the Trojans this Saturday, this Friday, and then in the playoffs in the coming weeks.
And North Catholic scoring the 4th most points in all of 4A this year. And they're going to have to score quite a bit this weekend against Central Catholic. And for a little bit of a preview on that and a recap of the season so far, heading into playoffs, let's hear from Max Hurray.
We're here with North Catholic boys varsity basketball player Max Hurray. Max, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Max, you've had a great season so far. You're averaging over 20 points per game this year. What have you been able to improve in your game over the past offseason to be able to achieve that production going into this season?
I think what I've done mostly is I've gotten faster, I've gotten stronger. Those are the two main parts, and I think I've got better defensively. I think that's also really big, keeping the defenders in front of me. And I think I've also, if I had to say, I'd probably got better at shooting. All my shooting percentages are up, and finding my teammates. I think that's also a big key to how I've gone better.
This season so far seems to have gone similar to last season. You guys are stacking a lot of wins, but probably will get a similar seed to last year. What do you think makes this team different than last year's team and get you ready for a big run in playoff?
I think this year's team, we're all just together. I mean, there's no egos. Everyone set their egos aside. I think that's very important. I think we all just play together, and we all are very key to that one goal and to win WPIALs and states. And I think we all just believe in that, and we all just love doing it together.
We see Coach Rocco from our perspective, as an outside perspective. We see him during the games. He always seems a little bit cross at times. He's very intense, but he seems like but he's very passionate about his team. What have you seen from him this year and over your time here at North Catholic in terms of how he's been able to lead his teams so far to such success in his first 2 seasons as head coach?
I think Coach Rocco is a great coach. I love Coach Rocco. He's awesome. I think he's done a really good job of getting us prepared for every single game and for every game this season. And he's helped me a lot, me personally, but I think he helps everyone out a lot through the team. And I think the main thing is just getting us prepared for every game and helping us run our offense and everything, and helping every single player, varsity and JV.
You've played with this current group of seniors for a long time. Can you talk about your relationship with them and how they help you grow on and off the court?
I mean, I love the seniors. I love all of them. I've played with Andrew, Max, Matt, and then Tyler. I played JV with Matt and Tyler my sophomore year, and I loved playing with them. And then, I did that my freshman year when they were sophomores. But when I was a sophomore, I played with Andrew, Max, and then Matt, and I just love playing with them because I think we all kind of play similar. I mean, with our offense and everything, but I think it's just awesome playing with them. Just the way everyone moves the ball and everything. And when you play with someone for a long time, you know everyone's strengths and everyone's weaknesses. So we all know our strengths, and I think that's very important. Yeah.
And one of your strengths this year has been your fast-paced offense. It seems like it's a trademark of a North Catholic offense over the last several years that we've been here. Just quick up and down the court, scoring a lot of points. One of the top 5 teams in 4A, which has been something that's been repeated year over year with this team. How does that stack up against other teams that you've faced so far this year? And what is something that you think the team needs to improve upon before we head into the WPIAL playoffs?
I think with our fast-paced offense, I think we wear teams down, and that's just what we do. That's what we've been doing for a while. And I think with our fast-paced offense, that's how we beat some of these better teams. I mean, we just constantly cause havoc on defense, make the other team's offense have to make fast and rush decisions, and I think that's very important. And I think coming into the playoffs, I think the only thing that we can get better at offense a little, but I think just measuring, getting our defense ready. I think finishing up on our defense, because we have some mistakes on defense where late rotations and then just giving up too many points. But I think besides that, I think we're there.
How excited are you going into this weekend and try to get revenge back against Central after last year?
I think it's going to be a really fun weekend. I think we play 2 amazing teams, Friday and Saturday, and I think it's going to be great competition to show that I think we're ready for the playoffs.
Any keys for the Central game?
Rebounding. I think that's our main key, in defense. I think defense and rebounding are 2 main keys that game because they're a taller team, and obviously we're not the tallest team, but I think if we box out and rebound the ball well and then move the ball well in offense, that's also very important, but play defense because they have some very good players on their team.
That sounds like a plan to me, and we're looking forward to broadcasting that game on Saturday, and we wish you the best of luck in that game and the rest of the season, Max.
Thank you.
And you just heard from Max Hurray. It's a great interview. We interviewed 3 boys basketball players, and Max was asking us after.
Who's the best?
Yeah.
And they've all been great.
Yeah.
They've all been great, and they've had a great season as well, and we're looking forward to covering those games this weekend and in the games to come in the playoffs.
Yep, and we're looking forward to that. And this Saturday is going to be a really fun Saturday. Hopefully we can get 2 North Catholic wins against those Vikings from Central.
Exactly, and the girls play Oakland at 2. The boys play Central at 4. That's on the North Catholic Sports Network. Myself, Ryan, and Alex Jackson will be on the call, and we're looking forward to that on Saturday.
Yep, and we thank you all for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this podcast. Remember, we are your one-stop podcast for everything North Catholic athletics.